Good afternoon, Venus. Happy Monday. Happy full moon. Full moon in Scorpio. I'm going to give everyone a second to join in. I'm going to shuffle these cards. We're going to chat. We're going to have a beautiful rest of our day. Yeah, full moon in Scorpio. Let me see what the Moonology calendar has to say. For Monday, May 12th, it says, it's a very intense day. The full moon in Scorpio, while a communication planet, Mercury, clashes with Scorpio planet, Pluto. Keep in mind the old saying that least said, soonest mended. I appreciate that. I think that's very, very, very Scorpio energy, with the idea of Scorpios, I feel like, are sometimes known as like the silent but deadly, right? They don't say much, but when they do, it's like, it's a, not deadly, but it's a powerful message. It's something that is intentional. It's something that isn't very like impulsive or sporadic. Scorpios have a lot of deep wisdom, but they don't always say the most. But when they do, you know, it's a very, very, very intentional and powerful and inspired message. But that's the Moonology message for the day. I'll keep referencing it as people join in. But hello, Kristen. Good afternoon. Happy Monday. Happy full moon. Let me know how your day is going. Send a message in the chat. Any emojis that are on our mind, let us know. I'm here at the store, obviously. And I was feeling the full moon vibes. So I wanted to pull some water alchemy cards because it's a water moon. I felt that was appropriate. And I also wanted to get on here and just chat about our upcoming Pride Weekend. We are a little over a month out from the 27th to the 29th. And I just wanted to make a live and then post it for people to watch later, just to get an idea, a little bit more tangibly speaking, of what's going on for that weekend. And to kind of, you know, tease what's happening, and as things evolve, people will get more updates as we get closer to it. But first and foremost, let's pull some cards, all right? I really like this deck. It's nice. I haven't used it much. I've only used it like once or twice before. But yeah, water alchemy for the full moon in Scorpio, which is water. I know that Chrissy today is hosting the full moon sound bath down in Brigantine. So if you can join her, please do. It's a perfect opportunity. Yes, for the full moon. Yes, for the good vibes at the beach. But also full moon in Scorpio, water season at the ocean, like, woo! Yeah, much needed. But hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Like I said, I'm going to pull some cards. We'll just chat and see what's going on for the rest of our beautiful Monday, our full moon. If you are joining us, send a message in the chat. Let me know how your day is going so far. So one here. I'm going to pull 3. That's usually how I like to do them. And 3. I'm doing it right here live for you. I'm not sitting with these messages. So first and foremost, we have the 16 card in the deck, which is known as Evaporation. I'm going to let it sit there for a second so you can take a look. All the beautiful colors and imagery that is here. So let's talk about this. The Evaporation card. The fact that it's being a 16 makes me realize that it is definitely about like investigating new opportunities. I think especially the idea of water and evaporation. If we've been feeling very, you know, what I want to say, either on the back burner or just like overwhelmed with so many things to do or to feel and to say, and we're not really feeling the most motivated to finish out projects, we're not feeling motivated to have certain conversations, or we're just feeling like overwhelmed in general, emotionally speaking. This one here, I would say, is definitely calling us to find new outlets that fill our cup. You know, it seems that simple, and it may sound much more simple, but sometimes it really could be just that easy of like, okay, I have these things that are becoming stress points, and I'm not gonna release them completely, but let me find some new outlets that fill my cup. That way, when I do go back to certain work-related things, friends, family obligations that you have, you're a bit more energized, you're a bit more motivated, your cup is more full so that you can give more fully to the things that may have felt like overheating. Like, I don't know if I used to have a really old Jeep and it would overheat often. And it's kind of scary when that happens. Like, you got to pull over, you got to wait a second. So I think that's also part of that too, of what areas are we not really seeing the signs that we're overheating? Do we need to take a break on certain things? Do we need to take a mental health day? Do we need to just cool down our thoughts even? You know, if it's not even tangible, it could also just be spiritual and emotional. What can we do, especially with this full moon in Scorpio? What can we do to sort of release some of those tension or pressure points around our creativity? And the reason why I say creativity is just because of the colors in this. So you have a lot of red, orange, and yellow, which typically relates to root, sacral, and solar plexus. So it's all about stability, job, friends, family. How do we feel safe, secure, and stable in the resources that we have? Solar plexus being what ignites our fire, what is our creative force, what outlets do we have to actualize our dreams, all that good stuff. And also too, like, how do we find pleasure? Like, just in life, in the daily, day-to-day things. If it's getting a latte, if it's getting your nails done. I always say that, but it's so true. If it's doing your hair a certain way, if it's wearing, you know, a lot of bracelets, whatever those small things are that give you pleasure throughout your day, that. And then the solar plexus is what goals are we setting? And that's kind of where I was saying, if we're feeling like our goals aren't manifesting quick enough, or if they're not manifesting in the ways that we had hoped so, or they're just not manifesting in a way that we can really see, maybe it's time for us to take a step back, investigate those intentions, reevaluate the impact that we're trying to have, and give ourselves grace. Like, I think that that's a huge part of it too, of when we take the time to reflect and be still and give ourselves and others grace, it allows us to fill our cup. It may not feel like it in the moment, but when you get back into what you're doing, when you get back into how you are feeling, I think that just having patience with yourself fills your cup without you even really knowing it. And maybe that's just me and how I feel, but I think some of us can relate to that for sure. But the evaporation card. Like I said, I don't use these cards too often, so I'll read the book after, but I just want to keep going through of the cards that came out. So the next one here is the 8 card in the deck. It is known as Crystal. I'll let that sit for a second. I love this because there's so many beautiful elements to this card. So first and foremost, sitting on an ice cube, sitting on an iceberg. We have beautiful crystals down here, deep in the ocean. We have a lot of beautiful sea life here. But I love this because of the fact that what I was saying to you before of sitting in stillness. And if we're talking about the last card being evaporation, and I kind of said, you know, to chill out, right? Putting certain things on ice, letting them cool down. If we're, yeah, right? Big Scorpio vibes. If we're overheating, you know, physically in the world with like job responsibilities, family obligations, just in general, right? If we're overheating emotionally, if we're overheating spiritually, putting ourselves on ice, allowing ourselves to chill, which, again, I think sometimes is a lot like easier said than done. But I love that 8 number because it lets me know that there's abundance of ways to do it. So the way that it looks like for me, going to this full moon beach sound bath, going to a park, going to a float room, going to a meditation, going to the Crystal Warehouse to just sit and pull cards because it's Cafe Venus. Whatever those moments look like for you, there's an abundance of opportunity to do it. Even if not every single day, at least when you know that you feel called to it. It's as vast and as wide as the ocean, so even if you're called to certain things, don't be like, oh, I'll do that later. Like, there's a reason why you're being called to it. And I love that it's called Crystal because, one, I think that when we honor that abundance that's calling us, I think that it becomes more crystal clear, right, of why we're being called to these sort of outlets. It becomes a lot more crystal clear than, too, when we look at the external world. The things that I feel like I'm overheating about in life, family, friends, work, being a spiritual and emotional being, it becomes a lot clearer when I take the time to just sit, be grateful, and reflect on the abundance around me, and to utilize the resources that I have. Sometimes I think that for me, speaking for myself, it can be easy to take some outlets that I have for granted. I live not far from a park. I have a bike, and how often do I just let it sit and get dusty? So there's a way to do meditative practices that don't necessarily have to be just sitting in stillness and in quiet, but that's also a great way to do it too. Whatever works for you, there is an abundance of opportunities to gain crystal clear, clarity around that. And I think too, the beauty of this with the colors is that the last one had a lot more like sacral plexus, root chakra, and solar. This one has a lot more throat, third eye, and crown chakra energy. So I think there's a balance between the two, of course, of allowing ourselves to set goals, be motivated, use our willpower to manifest things, to be creative, to connect and be rooted and grounded in our friends, our family, our workplace, but to not let ourselves overheat. We don't want our emotional batteries to be evaporating, right? As this card says. So when we take the time to identify our resources, identify our outlets to chill out, to, find stillness, to heal, essentially, things become a lot more crystal clear. And I resonate with that deeply. I do agree with Sonia that this is very much so a beautiful Scorpio card for the day. Especially because I know there's a few people that joined us in later, but the Moonology message for the day is saying that the full moon in Scorpio is a communication planet, has a communication planet, Mercury, but it also sits with Pluto, meaning that sometimes the least said, the old saying is least said, soonest mended. And so I feel like what I was saying is that sometimes just sitting in quiet, you can have the most profound conversations with yourself, with spirit. And I think sometimes sitting in silence and reflecting allows us to have better conversations with the people that we may want to or need to. I just love it. I really love it. I want to keep moving on before I talk about the next card, but this one here is the last card that I pulled. Beautiful card here too. And this one here is Rising. And so this is another, it says 26, but it's another 8 card. So recognizing abundance again, but sometimes in new forms that we may not have recognized. And I think the beauty of that comes from this here, whatever this is trying to signify. Abundance in things that we may not have recognized. To me, that could be like a scary kind of figure. But the reality of it is that it actually could lead to like healing. It could lead to more clarity. Things that would typically be uncomfortable, things that are typically not the most Instagram, Facebook Live worthy, the parts of me that may want to cry or that I have allergies and I'm sneezing, like the parts of me that are typically socially, what's the word I want to use? Not clout worthy. There's still an abundance there. I think that's what I'm getting from this card, of that sitting with those things, allowing myself to be human in those ways, allows for true love, for true empathy, for true joy to rise. Especially talking about the ocean, like sitting with my personal depths, sitting with my depth of emotion and the depth of my spirituality and my practices. Some of it may not always be clear, some of it may not always be helpful to others, but me sitting with it and honoring it, I think allows for true light, like I said, true joy and love and genuine authenticity to rise. I love that this card, we finally have some heart chakra resonance going on. So the first two were much more like, there's some trees here, but personally, there's more like root chakra, solar plexus energy, throat, third eye, and crown. But this one here, we are fully covered in this heart chakra energy. So what I mean by that is that we're allowing ourselves to also give and receive love, give and receive empathy, compassion, abundance in a more harmonious way. There's less of an imbalance in the way that we give and receive in the world in general. And I think too, it's allowing us to honor the fact that that's our birthright, honor the fact that we have the ability to manifest that. We have the ability to not control it, right? We're not talking about power here. We're talking more of just like being in the present moment with it. It allows us to literally to rise to our fullest potential, to rise from things that may have kept us in like negative feedback loops, kept us in the dark, so to speak, kept us in that cycle of evaporation and overheating. So when we take the time to sit with ourselves, to give thanks, to be grateful, to find the things that let us cool off and cool down, it allows us and our light to fully rise. And I think that's so beautiful for this Scorpio full moon. Especially coming from, Aries, going into Gemini season, I think having more of a connection to and clarity around our emotional and spiritual depths, I think is important as we move into this Gemini season. Taurus, Aries, then Gemini, yeah. But yeah, I think this is really beautiful. What a great card. I also just love just this deck in general. I love the little fun borders that they have too. It's a really nice deck. For those of you that are joining us, I see some new people in here. We are pulling cards from the Water Alchemy Oracle. Today is the full moon in Scorpio. So we're talking about water energy. And just kind of to quickly sum it up real quick, the cards that called out today when we were on this live is one, first and foremost, evaporation. So if we're thinking and feeling like we're overwhelmed, I kept saying overheating, especially since we're talking about water, but if we're feeling overwhelmed, if we're feeling like we're overheating, taking a moment to investigate, to identify, one, where we feel that way, right? Is it work? Is it friends? Is it creative outlets? Is it goals that we're trying to set? Identify those things and then investigate outlets to soothe that. And the next card kind of talked about that. There's an abundance crystal. There's an abundance of opportunities for us to be still, to meditate, to reflect. There's an abundance of opportunities for us to engage with, but sometimes we just need to sit down, right, to fully see it. If we're really, really in the midst of things and things are heating up and we're just going and going and going, it can be hard to see, the abundance around you, the abundance within you. And it can also be hard to be grateful because we don't have those moments to reflect and fully be present. And so this card here is letting us know that in doing so, things become a lot more clear, crystal clear, to go with the card. And to talk about water, it's that ripple effect. If things are constantly in chaos, I'm not gonna be able to see things clearly. But when we have still and calm waters, you can see yourself, you can see what's beneath the surface a lot more clearly. And that's a beautiful, beautiful segue into the last card, which is rising. So as a result of that, as a result of investigating those areas that were overheating, as a result of sitting with and being grateful for our abundance, our heart, our goals, our internal abundance manifests more clearly. Our authentic light is able to rise. And it's also just what I want to say is more informed. It's more channeled, people would say. It's more inspired. It's more motivated. It's more full of love, when we have that sort of connection to, I keep saying, to our depths. Not just the superficial, like I said, the Instagram worthy, Facebook Live worthy, yes, those things are valid. But when we have a deeper connection to ourselves and the things around us that we engage with, our internal light rises much more passionately. It's also much more recognizable. And personally, I feel for myself, I know that it feels more fulfilling too. So, rising. And then, as some of you know, I always like to use the bottom of the deck as just a clarifier, or letting the deck speak to me about what am I missing? I pulled those cards, I let spirit guide me, but what am I missing? What do you need to tell me? And I know I just said it, so this is really funny, but the bottom of the deck, as you can see, right here, still waters. Like, guys, did I not just say still waters like a second ago about how important it is to see things clearly? Still waters. I know that I said it. Like, this is really funny. I know that I said it. We can see ourselves more clearly, but look, there's a fish. We can also see what's beneath the surface. So when I was saying about setting goals and things aren't manifesting as quickly as we want them to, sometimes that can be true, but other times I think it's just like our mind trying to future trip and get too far ahead of ourselves. Sometimes the things that we're manifesting are right in front of our face. I know for me, sometimes when I'm like, where's my jewelry? Where's this? Where's that? And I take a step back and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's right in front of my face. And I think that that's what this card is letting me know too. It's an 11, which I would interpret that as a 2. So it'd be all about making choices. It's a great karmic number, but definitely about making choices. And for me, I can choose to constantly rough up the waters. I can constantly just go and overheat myself and overexhaust. But if I allow myself to make the choice, I'm gonna do it. To identify where I'm feeling overheated and overexhausted, if I allow myself to identify the abundance of opportunities to be still, to give thanks and gratitude, and if I allow myself the opportunity and the privilege to let my light fully rise and shine and to live with compassion and empathy, the result is still waters, clarity. There's also deep protection here with the dream catchers going on. And I know that I see it in this card too, that there's a full circle moment too of the clarity in our third eye, our throat, and our crown chakras leads to more stillness and clarity within our root, sacral, and solar plexus, and it fills and fuels our heart chakra, and there's a full circle of life, so to speak, happening there. And I really love that. It's a beautiful card. I love when Spirit does that. I just said still waters and it pops up. But good afternoon, everyone. I know there's a few people that joined, so just really quickly, this is the Water Alchemy deck. We're pulling cards for the full moon in Scorpio. If you are watching, please send a message. Let me know if any of those cards resonated with you. If you want me to go back and just kind of repeat any of the messages. I'm going to post this after for people to watch too. I know that I like to ramble when I get inspired about cards, but send a message in the chat. Let me know how we're feeling. I was calling this the full moon and full pride live. So I wanted to pull some cards for the full moon in Scorpio. I know that Chrissy is hosting the full moon sound bath down in Brigantine. So if you're able to join, please do. Otherwise, you can come visit us here in the store. We have Cafe Venus set up, so there's plenty of cards to engage with. To pull your own cards, you can ask one of us to pull a card for you if you're able to come in the store. But yes. So to get into the second half of this live, I called it Full Moon and Full Pride. So if you're not aware, we are hosting an LGBTQ+ Pride Weekend here at Venus. It is the last weekend of Pride, the 27th to the 29th. I'm very grateful to be hosting this. It's something that I guess selfishly I wanted for myself, and I think on a more spiritual and emotional level, I'm grateful that I can offer it to Venus Moon. Grateful that I can offer it to the community here at Venus. Like, I have been going to Pride for the last 10 years, and I think just for me now in this space of the beautiful Crystal Warehouse, it is a tremendous blessing to offer a fully sober and mostly free Pride event, Pride Weekend, that centers on spiritual growth and emotional wellness. That to me is giving me chills. I am so grateful to have that, like I said, selfishly for myself, but to give that to the community, especially towards the end of the month, it just feels like an infinite blessing. And I'm very excited. There are so many beautiful events that happen here, and I'm just so grateful to add this little sprinkle into the mix. Especially too, I liked having it at the end of the month because, Pride season, is phenomenal, and I want people to go and celebrate Pride, do their thing as they do the traditions like the parade and whatever functions and events you typically do. But at the end of the month, if you're feeling emotionally exhausted, you know, from being social and all the parties and stuff, or if you're feeling spiritually like you need to charge, by all means, please come out to our Pride Weekend. I'm gonna talk about what the events that we have. So this is the schedule. It's posted on Facebook. I'm just giving you a tangible example so we can talk about it. But yes, so Friday night, we're having an open mic night. I don't know if I can say that. Open mic night, but we're calling it Out Loud. So we will have a beautiful setup here where we're asking local artists, musicians, comedians, spoken word artists, storytellers, people that just want to share something, come out. We want to hear your voice. We're asking for original works. That's just, I think, something that enhances that sort of theme of authenticity. But come out. It's Friday night, June 27th from 6 to 8. The store will be open. I think part of the benefit of that is having it during store hours. It also kind of lets customers engage with the community that's here too. And if people want to shop and do their thing, by all means, it's a Friday night, we're here. Yes, so that's Friday night. It's free to come. It's free to share your work. I just wanted it to be like a really, really great opportunity to mix and mingle with local artists. And even to just fun, supportive community members. Like I said in one of our flyers, if you don't want to get on the mic, don't be deterred from coming out. Come support the people that are getting on the mic, that are feeling courageous and brave to share their story, to share their songs, to share their voice. They deserve an audience. So if you can't come out, if you don't want to get on the mic, please come, show support, and show some love. I think with that being said, there's also just a deep need to show up for your community. You know, to meet some new friends, meet some artists, maybe you can collaborate in the future. But yeah, I want to have just a nice little meet and greet, mix and mingle, so to speak. And also just like a lounge vibe, you know? Like I said, there's so much of an emphasis on partying, but how about if we just hang out and share our original works? If you want to sing, if you want to share your poetry, if you want to tell us a joke, this is the opportunity to do it. And like I said, it's free to come, free to enter, 6 to 8 on that Friday night. And I'm really excited for that. I think it's a great start to the weekend. And another great opportunity, like I said, to have a free and sober event on a Friday night. Like, come on. So the next up on Saturday, the 28th, we have 2 overlapping events going on. So first and foremost, we're having an all-day market. I'm calling it Love Lives Here. The emphasis on here, because I think that people need to know that there are a lot of great LGBTQ vendors and also just like supportive customers too in the area. So we want to have an all-day market here, indoor and outdoor. We're orchestrating the vendors now to get that together, but supporting local businesses, supporting small businesses in the area is super important. And so we're having a market here. And then additionally, on top of that, in the Vortex room, I'm going to host a donation-based free workshop called Pride and Prism. I'm very excited about this. I've been working around crystals for like the last 6 years, and I kind of didn't realize how much information I absorbed about the chakras and crystal energy and just how they work and how they help heal, how they, you know, what's the word I want to use? How they honor our self-expression. And so I wanted to offer just like a free crash course, like a 101 basics on crystals, how they help with the chakras, and how they then heal and help support our authenticity. So we're calling that Pride and Prism, all about honoring the light within. How can you use crystal grids, you know, wearable crystal grids to manifest, to heal, to express yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually and mentally. Very excited for that. That's 1 o'clock in the Vortex room on Saturday the 28th. There are some limited spots and seats, so please reach out to me. I'll add my contact information for those that want to sign up. Cool, that's Saturday. And we'll have a few other things sprinkled in, but I'm just giving you the general outline, all right? You got to stay tuned and keep in touch for all the special little things that pop up throughout the rest of the weekend. But then moving on to Sunday, June 29th, We got a whole list. So Sunday, June 29th, again, we have two beautiful events happening that Sunday. So first and foremost, another free donation-based workshop in the Vortex Room at 1 o'clock. However, this one's going to be different. I'm calling it Match My Freak, as in frequency. Talking about, again, just the 101s, the basics about sound healing, how it works, and how it helps with spiritual and emotional alignment. I am doing a sound bath later that night, and I typically get a lot of questions about like how the bowls work, why the healing frequencies, why is this important? If people meditate and if they use crystals, what's the benefit of doing a sound bath? Why do I need that? Or if I meditate in these ways and I do yoga, or if I do, other styles of meditation, why would I benefit and why would I need sound healing? So this crash course, Match My Freak, it's just kind of, again, like the basics, getting a general introduction into sound healing frequencies, why they work, how they work, and what the benefits are. We'll do a nice little live demonstration, a little teaser. I call it sound showers, not a sound bath, but a sound shower, just to give you an idea of how it works and the benefits of it. So that's at 1 o'clock, once again, in the Vortex Room. It's free to come. I'm just donation-based. Throughout the weekend, we'll be doing donations towards different charities in the area, so more information on that to come. But then also, too, on June 29th, after the stores close at 5 o'clock, we're hosting our Lunar Flow. We've been doing the Lunar Flow New Moon sound baths for, oh my goodness, like 4 months now. Woo, what a blessing. But this one here is going to be, yes, celebrating the new moon, which happens on the 25th. So shortly, we're doing the Lunar Flow shortly after the new moon. But in particular, given the season of Pride, I wanted to also do a more 7 chakras style and theme around Lunar Flow. I use the 7 chakra singing bowls, and I wanted to just tie in the beautiful rainbow of the Pride flag, the beautiful rainbow of the 7 chakras, and do a nice little sound bath that ties those two together. I'll be doing that alongside my brother on Sunday night. My brother Armani plays acoustic guitar and percussion. I'll be playing the bowls and singing. And the whole theme for that one, like I said, is the 7 chakras and alignment, but we're calling it Trusting Our Flow. So the new moon for that is in Cancer, which is, again, another water sign. And so we want to tie in, yes, the beautiful flow of water, the 7 chakra energy, and authenticity for LGBTQ Pride Month, and how that all comes together of trusting our unique flow. So those are the main core events that we have throughout the LGBTQ plus weekend. It is a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, but like I said, to have a Pride weekend that is sober, that is pretty much 98% free to come, that's centered on wellness and emotional health, like, if you can't make it, please share this live. Please share the event page that we have made with someone that you know would be interested. Even if they can't come, share it to local organizations. Like, please spread the word. I know for myself, being in this area and going to Pride for the last 10 years in Philly and Jersey and New York, there's a great emphasis on partying, which I love. There's a great emphasis on just being social and, the commercial appeal of Pride. But to have Venus Moon present and sponsor an LGBTQ plus Pride weekend here, solely worrying about our emotional health and wellness, like, that is such a beautiful thing to have in this community in the South Jersey area. So if you can make it out, please do. Like I said, if not, share with someone that you know would resonate with. Share with any vendors, brands, businesses that you think would want to collaborate. I'll put my contact information. We're about a little more than a month out. I'm so excited for what we have planned. Like I said, I'm a Libra, so I'm going to sprinkle a couple special things here and there just to keep people on their toes about what we have going on. But you have the main schedule there: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a free event each day. I'm really excited. Yes, Sonia, Scott, Kim, Christopher, and Kristen, thank you for joining me. I appreciate the love and the energy. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me. I am so looking forward to it. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and I'm so grateful for Venus Moon for just seeing the need for it too, and for honoring it and for being so motivated to make this happen. But yes, so once again, real quick, we have Out Loud, our open mic night, happening on Friday night from 6 to 8 in the store. On Saturday, we have our all-day market with local businesses, local LGBTQ vendors. We're also going to have a free donation-based workshop up in the Vortex room at 1 o'clock. And then on Sunday, we have another free donation-based workshop up in the Vortex room at 1 o'clock. And then we have our lunar flow sound bath here after the store closes. There'll be, I'm going to just tell you now because I'm just excited, but we're going to also do a nice little social media contest. The winner will receive a coupon for their purchase that they have in store that weekend, but they're also going to get 2 free tickets to the lunar flow sound bath. More details for that of how to enter and get activated and engaged with it. But that's just one of the things I want to sprinkle in, of getting people that may not be able to physically come in, getting them, you know, engaged and motivated to online. And yeah, the rest, I'm going to keep that for me, and we'll keep it for June. But I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy full moon. And I hope to talk to you soon. If you can come see us, please do. Otherwise, keep an eye out for more updates on our LGBTQ Pride Weekend. And I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.